Robin, when we look at the market and we look, let's say specifically software companies, although I got to tell you, like I get calls from companies that are not just software that are ready to take on customer success. But let's just take that industry, software companies. What is the percentage of companies that are actually investing in customer communities?
There was a big research firm called Gartner. They did a recent survey on the external community market, and they've actually seen like 3 or 4 times X amount of inquiries going to their analysts around communities over the last 12 months or so. So communities, I think, especially, I know if we're still in the COVID world or post-COVID or pre-COVID, but in the last 2 years or so, everybody was thinking, hey, how can I engage my customers online? Also because you couldn't do it, face to face. Meetings were more and more difficult. So everybody was thinking, hey, how can I get customers closer to our company? And that's also where you saw companies more and more looking at communities. So at the moment, I think there's about 40-50% of organizations who have deployed or are implementing a solution. But the majority of technology companies are not there yet. So there's still a huge opportunity, I think, for us and our combination.
Yeah, so definitely seeing a spike post the coronavirus pandemic. Are they doing it right? Like the ones that are actually have implemented or are implementing customer communities, how many of them are aligned to best practices?
I mean, definitely not everybody succeeds, in their first attempt. Definitely need some best practices and some guidance on how to do this. I don't have exact data on what the percentage of customers who are actually succeeding with our community after 3 or 6 or 9 months. What I can tell you is that I think we have after a year or so, there's 95% of the companies who are exceeding their own business outcomes. That's probably a signal that it's adding a lot of value for them.
Obviously, it's your gut feeling, like how many of them are, deploying it aligned to best practices. But what I'm also hearing is that it takes about 6 to 9 months to fully set it up and get enough users being engaged so that you feel like you're happy with the results. Is that a correct statement? Like that takes about approximately?
Well, I think if you would divide up the process, I think, a typical implementation is 4 weeks or so. It's super easy to get off the ground and have something up and running, have some initial content and have some user activation. I think then it's up to the company, how much are we going to communicate, this new portal? Companies, basically build out their overall community efforts, month over month. And typically, indeed, we see after 6 to 9 months or so, then you get into a situation where there's actually a lot of traction, where multiple teams are engaged, where there's a clear, decent ROI. That's what we typically see in a lot of our customers.
I know I'm getting into the weeds, but that's what our audience probably really want to hear. You
Course.
said that they achieve outcome, surpass their goals after 6 to 9 months for the most part. What are their goals? How do they quantify success?
So there's typically 3 main reasons why companies deploy a community and in the sense of what they're looking for, basically. So the first is all about driving online self-service. Every organization gets questions. A lot of people go to support or to your CSM or to your account management. And a lot of organizations are looking to offload those repeat and mundane questions to digital channels.
How do they measure that? Did they look for a reduction in support tickets?
It's not necessarily used as a cost reduction tool, but it's more used, hey, how can I scale without necessarily increasing headcount in a linear way? If I get twice the amount of customers, do I also get twice the amount of tickets or questions to my CS team or all of these things? So that's the first part. The second business outcome people are looking for is just driving engagement. And why is that? Well, because we've long seen that engagement is one of the best leading indicators for customer retention and renewals. Engagement is really a driving force between renewals, and our platform can really drive engagement at scale. And then the third one in terms of business results is more about product feedback and product communication. So how can I get the voice of the customer into our roadmap? Everybody has feature requests, right? Everybody has things and ideas around product. And of course, you can make sure that all this feedback flows to support or to your CSMs. So how can you provide this centralized platform where all your customers can go to, where also your CSMs can go to, where your product team can go to, and where you have this centralized place for feature requests and ideas basically for the product. But not only that, how can you also circle back all the things you've been doing as an organization in terms of roadmap, in terms of feature releases, and also circle that back to your users, in the form of product release notes or in-app guidance or tutorials or all of these things to really drive product adoption, as an end goal. Those are typically the 3 business outcomes, customers are looking for.
Who is going to use and manage it? Are you seeing it? You've done it for a number of years now. Are you really seeing mostly the user communities being managed by the customer success team? Or is it actually being managed by someone in marketing or support, as Nick suggested?
This question, I get asked by all prospects. Everybody is looking for, hey, where does a community fit in? And I think the background of that is that it touches, the customer relationship, but who actually owns the customer? It's basically all teams, right? Everybody is involved in getting closer to customers and making sure you act upon customer feedback. A lot of teams within an organization are customer facing, right? It's not only support, it's not only customer success managers, right? It's also customer marketing, it's also product managers. A lot of people actually connect with the customer. And then, on our platform, on the community, on the customer hub, you can do that, right? But every team can benefit from that, right? So who should own this? I've actually seen in a lot of our customers, there's actually a battle going on within the team saying, I want to own this because I want to be the one leading this change and this customer focused mindset. And I want to be having these close relationship with customers. I think if you look at our data and the statistics, I think it makes super much sense to have it as part of a customer success organization, having in the end leading up to the chief customer officer. And we see that in about 60% or so, 60, 70% of the cases. We see about 20, 30% or so in customer marketing. And then there's like a small portion still in customer support.
Guys, if you like this video, give it a like. If you have any tips on how to manage a customer community successfully, anything that worked for you, leave it in the comments below. And I'll see you all at the next video.